desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or happiness. So wonderful verse, na kangshe vijayam Krishna, na cha shreya anupashyami, hatva swajanam ahave, na kangshe vijayam Krishna, na cha rajyam sukhani cha. Arjuna ji is now denying everything. I don't want victory, I don't want kingdom, I don't want happiness. At the cost of killing my own kinsmen, at the cost of killing others. So purport, wonderful purport, Swami Srila Prabhupada writes, without knowing that one's self-interest is in Vishnu, Krishna, without knowing that one's self-interest is in Vishnu or Krishna, conditioned souls are attached by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situations. Under delusion, they forget that Krishna is also the cause of material happiness. Arjuna appeared to have even forgotten the moral codes for a Kshatriya. It is said that two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriya, who dies directly in front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal order, and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture, are eligible to enter in the sun globe, which is so powerful and dazzling. Arjuna is reluctant. So wonderful. Arjuna appears to have even forgotten the moral codes. These were the moral codes given to Kshatriyas, that for fighting for religion, it is said that two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriyas who died directly in front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal order, and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture, are eligible to enter into the sun globe, which is so powerful and dazzling. Arjuna is reluctant even to kill his enemies, let alone his relatives. He thought by killing his kinsmen there would be no happiness in his life, and therefore he was not willing to fight. Just as a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook. So analogy, wonderful analogy, if a person is not feeling hunger, then he is not inclined to cook. So he thought by killing his kinsmen there would be no happiness in his life, and so Arjun is denying, now here declining. He has now decided to go into the forest and live a secluded life in frustration. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his sustenance. Because the Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. So by their nature, Kshatriyas are habituated, they require guna, kala, karma. Because of their mode of passion, they cannot sustain, they cannot engage themselves in any other occupation, and they cannot sustain themselves like that. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his sustenance, because the Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. But Arjuna has had no kingdom. Arjuna's sole opportunity for gaining a kingdom lay in fighting with his cousins and brothers, and reclaiming the kingdom inherited from his father, which he does not like to do. Therefore, he considers himself fit to go to the forest to live a secluded life of frustration. So wonderful, Swami Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, and wonderful points. If a Kshatriya decides to die, who dies directly in front, not decide, if in the war, if fighting against the enemy, if a Kshatriya, on the order of the Krishna, under Krishna's personal order, and for the religion, even Lord Shri Krishna is present here, and for the religion also, because religion are the codes given by the Supreme Person in the scriptures. So if in a religious war, if there is a fight for religious cause to re-establish dharma, if there is a fight with irreligious people who are there in the society or in world to disturb the wonderful or the peaceful situation of others who are religious, so if a Kshatriya who dies in front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal order, and a person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture, are eligible to enter into the sun glow which is so powerful and dazzling. So one himself becomes so powerful and dazzling. That's why one is able to. Swami Srila Prabhupada, he explains, we all have what understanding we have, our present understanding. There is life in sun also. The soul can never die. The soul cannot be burned, cannot be, all those descriptions we will see in future. So there is life even in the sun globe, and the bodies, those who live there are very dazzling. They are so exalted. So the people, those who live there are very, very powerful people. So one who is renounced order of life, who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture. If a person is too much devoted to spiritual culture in performing austerities, penances, and always trying to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by various other methods of bhakti, devotional service, then such a person, or if a Kshatriya being ordered by Krishna under Krishna's personal order, if he dies directly in the front of the battlefield, then he enters the sun globe. So at the present moment we do not have any such information that life is as per the present modern science. We don't have any information, but the scriptures sarvagataha, and the living entity is sarvagata, it is present everywhere, and the living entity, the body is subjected to all these things: heat, light, fire. The body can be burnt, but the soul, soul is always, soul can never be killed, nor be slayed, nor be burnt. All these things we'll see in the future verses. And without knowing one's self-interest is in Vishnu or Krishna, nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. Even to think of one's self-interest, it's not as such bad. One is criticized when one becomes too much, attached to material things, and one becomes too selfish in acquiring, material possessions, that when one do not care for others, then one is criticized in this world and is called, as very selfish or very mean person. But if one knows the real self-interest, one who is really, if one knows about the soul and the super soul, and one tries to benefit himself, in reality, one do not work for the body, if one work for the soul. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. In the scriptures, and Swami Srila Prabhupada always quotes, Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu, durashaya ye bahirarthamaninaha, andha yathandher upagiyamana, episitantra urudhamni baddha. So these wonderful, the explanations are there in the scriptures, in Shrimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures. one do not know about the self. We think ourself to be this body, and we are too much our body, or at max, we give importance to our mind, manaha, or our ahankara, false ego, and which are all material. The spirit is far, far above, or even subtler than manaha, buddhi and ahankara. It is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. In the further verses, Lord Shri Krishna will explain. So none of us really know the self. What to speak of, how we will, unless we know our own self, unless we know about our own self. Where is the question of self-interest? So just fulfilling the wants of the body and the senses and the mind, the desires, and dhavato. Yesterday we read, one is running, hovering on the mental plane, and one is running behind all these things. What mind dictates, what fallen intelligence dictates, what our false ego dictates, what our senses dictates. And one do not know about self, and how one can know if one do not know about his own self or the supreme self. Then where is the question of knowing one's self-interest? So conditioned souls are attached by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situations. Under delusion, they forget that Krishna is also the cause of material happiness. Even what material happiness one derives from senses and mind, that is also given by Lord Shri Krishna, cause of all causes. Ishvara Krishna, Parma Krishna, Sachidananda Vigran Adir Adir Govinda. So under delusion, they forget that Krishna is also the cause of material happiness. Arjuna appears to have even forgotten the moral codes of Kshatriya. So wonderful concepts Swami Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this wonderful purport. So Shreho Anupashyami, Shreyas and Preyas, Swami Srila Prabhupada always explains, we are always anxious for temporary benefits. We do not care for permanent benefits. We are always hankering for happiness, flickering happiness. The happiness which is derived from sense gratification. The sense pleasure, or the mental pleasure one derives, which one derives from sense gratification and fulfilling the wants of the material mind, fulfilling the material wants of the fallen mind, are temporary, and they gives even frustration when it's get over. So, but still we are so much we are engrossed. Swami Srila Prabhupada explains, we are so much engrossed in this body, this mind, subtle mind, intelligence, and our ego, false ego. We all have a definition of our own self, and we are so much engrossed in it that we do not care for our own, we do not know what to speak of caring for our own self and self-interest, or the super self. So that is the condition of a person who is too attached. One becomes bewildered. Swami Srila Prabhupada is writing. So here Arjunji, we can see he is becoming very much bewildered. And in the coming verses, he will explain his condition more to Lord Shri Krishna. And then he will speak about, knowledge. He will start speaking like a very knowledgeable, and Lord Shri Krishna, so wonderful verses So we'll take up them in the future, and so today we read 29th, 30th and 31st. 3 verses we read, and we discussed little bit. So wonderful learnings we can take from here, instead of giving too much importance to our material wants and desires. If we understand somehow or other, if we understand that the Supreme Lord, the Vishnu, or Krishna, He is my real well-wisher, our own mind and our own intellect are also, as compared to Lord Shri Krishna, of course, we think that we always think of our own, welfare. But truly speaking, Lord Shri Krishna and His instructions, His directions in the scriptures, they are really meant for the upliftment. They are really, if one follows them, then one really does good to himself. So with this, I would like to stop here. We will take up few more verses, and in our next reading session. So till then, I request you all to chant Hare Krishna, pray to the Supreme Lord to give us transcendental realizations, so that we can take up to Krishna consciousness in a enthusiastic way. So with this, I would like to stop here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। जगत गुरु स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद जी की जय।